everyone, this is Amanda at Amanda's Booktopia. If you're new here, welcome, and if not, welcome back. And today, I have my Book of the Month box for the month of January. There were some really good picks for the month of January. There were so many I wanted to get. Unfortunately, I couldn't get them all. So I just got my top 3 that I really wanted. The rest can wait till like February or March or something like that. But this one, these are the ones that I had to have. So why don't we open up this box and dive on in. Alright, so let's see what we got in this box. Alright, so my main pick is right on top. So let's get into that one first. And that is Rings of Fate by Melissa de la Cruz. I don't think I've read from this author yet, but this one sounded really interesting. And it's like a special edition because it has these sprayed edges, same on the top and the bottom. And this cover is just so pretty. And you can kind of feel like the raised edges on the rings itself, which I think is really cool. Ooh. They're really breaking out these special editions now. Look at these end pages. This is the second book I've gotten for Book of the Month with end pages. Book of the Month, you're doing well for yourself. If you, this video is not sponsored. However, I hope one day it can be, because I just love the special editions. They are stunning, and they're much more affordable than actually getting from Barnes & Noble. I have to admit. But it says on the back, not your average fairy tale. And from what I've heard, there's some Princess Bride references in this, and then there is another reference to something else. Even though I wasn't a huge fan of the Princess Bride, the other comparison, I can't remember what the other comparison was. But I remember when I did see it, I'm like, well, that I might be interested in. It says she's a barmaid who doesn't believe in fairy tales. He's a prince cursed to live one. So I could totally get the Princess Bride vibes there. It says Erin Bellamore has no interest in being anyone's princess. She's too busy running the Raven's Beak Tavern, fending off unwanted marriage proposals and dreaming of escape. But when a brush with death and a dangerously handsome stranger upend her life, Erin finds herself bound to a bargain that could change everything. Prince Dedan has carried the cursed Rings of Fate, ancient weapons of devastating power since childhood. The magic is killing him and the enemies are closing in. To make the journey to reverse his curse, he needs a bride to hide his secrets. Erin wants freedom. Pretending to be his fiancée should give them both what they want. But as their perilous journey pits them against political schemes, monstrous Calandrar, and a growing attraction neither can deny, the line between make-believe and destiny begins to blur, and the fate of 2 kingdoms may depend on whether a cynical barmaid and a cursed prince are willing to risk their hearts. And that just sounds really interesting. Even though I didn't love the Princess Bride, I still think this plot sounds like something I might like. And I'm really hoping it's going to be good. I have never read anything from this author yet. However, there are other books from this author I am interested in. But this would be a fun one to start with, I think. And I am very excited to give this one a go. Don't know how soon it's going to be, but sometime maybe this year I could try and get to it. Because, like, look how stunning this cover is. And these sprayed edges are like everything. And I am in love with the end pages. Book of the Month did not used to do end pages until December. So I am so happy they're finally like turning it into the special edition game. It gives them better quality in my opinion. So I am very happy about that. And then the next 2 are add-ons that I added on to my box for January. The first one is a buddy read I'll be reading with my bestie Clint from Reads Readers. We are going to be reading this in February together, and I cannot wait. This is My Husband's Wife by Alice Feeney. I read Beautiful Ugly in 2025, became one of my favorite thrillers of all time. And then I went ahead and read like her whole backlist. And there were some that I liked and some not so much. But because Beautiful Ugly was so good, I feel like Alice Feeney, her writing game is upping up. I don't know if that makes any sense, but like, even though some of her backlists wasn't as good as some of her newer ones, I feel like as she keeps going and writing more books, I feel like the quality of her writing is getting better. Because Beautiful Ugly was absolutely amazing for me, especially on audio. So I'm very excited to give her newest release a go. This doesn't actually come out till July, not July. This actually comes out January 20th. But I got it early. And I'm super excited. All I know is that this woman goes out for a run. And then when she comes back, her key does not fit in the lock. And then when she knocks on the door, someone who looks exactly like her opens the door. And then who she thinks is her husband, well, her husband technically, comes and has no clue who she is, and he says the woman who's a lookalike is actually his wife. So I'm like, interesting. This will be, I've been hearing amazing reviews on this book. People who've been reading the arcs have been really getting me psyched to read this because people are loving it. And I cannot wait to see what my thoughts are going to be. I'm hoping it'll be a new favorite thriller of all time, like Beautiful Ugly was. So I am stoked to read this one. And I really like this cover also. And then the last book that I added to my box is Skylark by Paula McLean. And I love how they're coming out with like more historical fictions, because historical fiction is not really a huge genre on Book of the Month. It's not one that they highlight a whole lot of, but when they do, I'm usually interested. And this one sounded kind of like right up my alley. I've never read anything from this author before, but I'm willing to start. It's like a dual timeline, I think. There's a time in 1664 where Alouette Volland is a daughter of a master dyer at the famed Goblin Tapestry Works, who secretly longs to create colors no one has seen before and to escape the punishing circumstances of her life. When her father is unjustly imprisoned, her desperate attempt to save him leads to her own confinement in the notorious Salpêtrière Asylum, where thousands of women are held against their will. But within these grim walls, Alouette discovers a handful of daring allies and a dangerous path toward freedom. And in 1939, we have Christoph Larsen, a young Dutch doctor beginning his psychiatric residency in Paris, befriends a neighboring Jewish family on the Rue des Gobelins who have recently fled Poland. When Nazi forces descend on the city, Christoph's loyalty and skills are tested in ways he never imagined, forcing him to risk everything for those he's come to love. And somehow they all kind of come together. It's a story of resistance and rescue, of beauty forged in the dark, and of the invisible threads that connect us to the past. This sounds really interesting and sounds like something I'm really going to like. Because I love historical fiction. I feel like I need to read more of it. Because every time I read another historical fiction, I end up loving or like either really enjoying or absolutely loving. And I haven't been reading enough of that genre lately. Like in the 2025, I read very, very few historical fiction. But I want this year to be the year where I read more of it. So hopefully I could get to this sometime in 2026. Hopefully sooner rather than later, because it just sounds really interesting and I'm excited to get to it. And those are the 3 books. And there's also a new bookmark in here for Book of the Month to celebrate like 100 years. And so to celebrate, they're like making new bookmarks. And this one I think is kind of cool. is very pretty with the red, like reddish orange and the yellow. I think it's kind of cool. It's definitely nicer than the bookmarks they've had previously. So I also want to say congratulations to Book of the Month for 100 years. I am excited to see what other bookmarks you're going to have, because on the app for Book of the Month, they said we're going to get like all different kinds of different bookmarks celebrating 100 years and with different designs. So this is just one of the designs. There's going to be more of these. So I'm excited what other bookmarks are going to come out with. And that is all that is in this box. And my bookmark and all 3 of the books that I got for January. Have you read any of these? If you have, I would love to hear your thoughts. If you made it this far into the video and you don't feel like being chatty, why don't you leave me a bird for Skylark? Because I like birds. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a huge thumbs up. If you want to see more bookish content from me, make sure you smash the subscribe button down below. And I'll see you all in the next one.